It's time for Ink the Book Show with your host, Ryan O'Connor. And now, let's ink the book.
Hello, everyone. My name is Grover Cleveland, the 22nd and 24th President of these grand United States. And I'm here to remind you that you can follow Ryan O'Connor at Wrangleshank here on YouTube, on Twitch, at Twitter, or on Instagram. The bloke's bloody everywhere. And now, without further ado, here's Ryan O'Connor on Ink the Book Show.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President. You're so kind. Here we are. It's Ink the Book Show. Did you see my cartoon? Did you see my full 16-minute cartoon that I posted the other day? Needs work. It was a long time in the making. I made it 2 years ago, and that was my last Bonehead project. Now I'm making a 230-page graphic novel, which is easier to draw, easier to put together, but maybe just as long to make. Today I'm doing page 102. No, 101. I was supposed to do 101 yesterday, and I set up the show. I was about to hit the button to go live, right? And my buddy Ben out in Washington called just that very second, and I was on the phone with him for I think it was an hour and a half. And I don't hear from him as much as I used to, so I took the call. And I considered going live and putting him on speakerphone, but that wouldn't have been a fun show for everybody. Maybe least of all Ben. So didn't do it. So it kind of ate into my window of time to stream yesterday, but and I am trying to get him in particular on the show. That would be wonderful. But let me show you the page we're working on today. I had to do a lot of additional work on it this morning, anyhow, so that was helpful. I had to clean up some panels, fix some of these sound effects. There's a lot on this page, and get those inked and out of the way. See, this one's been bugging me. I just wanted it to go buzzing, or I can't do it backwards. Sorry, but that's what I settled on. Okay, we're gonna ink this page. Whoa. Got my cup of tea. You know what I gotta do? Get a bunch of this junk off my table and pour my ink. So some people might have noticed that this show has been waiting to start for something like 18 hours probably, because I had prepped the show and was ready to go live, but then I couldn't, and I didn't want to like re-prep it, I guess. So I just left it. Ooh. Ink, man, it's inky. For the first time, I could see how deep into this bottle of ink I've gotten. This big old, what is it, 32-ounce bottle of Speedball India Inc. Like I caught a glimpse of how much had been used with the light from the window, and there is barely a dent in this bottle, which I've used for. I was using a different bottle for the beginning of the book, and I ran out of it. I'm not sure when that happened, but I'd say 70 pages. I've been using this bottle. Maybe. That sounds right to me. And it's definitely going to last the whole project. Okay. So I'll start with him because he's the easiest thing to understand on this panel. He's also in the foreground, so he's the most important thing. Yeah, move this camera over. Because, yeah, I had to, there were a lot of panels on this page that were not very well thought out. And I had to add a lot of clarity to them a little while ago. I'm glad I kind of got a second chance to sit down and look at it before I just went live yesterday, because otherwise I had a lot of damage control to do during the stream. Like one panel, this one had like no inkling of a background, and I didn't really figure out what I was doing with this blast here, or this one here, and I kind of sketched in a better blast, but it's still a little ambiguous. But like this was all like crammed into the corner of this panel. This fizzing wasn't figured out. Fizzing. I don't know that it's figured out yet, but there it is in ink on the page. But yeah, I really needed to figure some stuff out. So I had to get like my light. I have a little light table here, and these cost like $20 on Amazon. You can get them pretty cheap. This is always handy at my desk in case it's just got one button, 3 settings. Like I just traced onto copy paper the ones that I needed to move around, and fizzing a little bit, and then I just changed it up a little bit, changed the positioning, and then redrew it on the page. So yeah, while I was on the phone yesterday, I was looking at that stuff. I was like, I've got a lot of stuff to figure out on this page. It's maybe he picked the right time to call and catch up. I've gotten a lot of good feedback on that Bonehead cartoon. People seem to like it. I got a lot of constructive criticism too. But it's all stuff I know. The sound is not ideal. My brother's been trying to get his hands on it and edit it up for me for 2 years, but we can never seem to coordinate it. But we've been talking about it ever since I posted the cartoon standalone. So I originally played it at the end of my last stream. I played my Bonehead pilot cartoon that I made on my own a couple of years ago, and then later that night I was like, why not? I'll just post the cartoon on its own. And there were a bunch of reasons I was holding off on doing that, but I figured I can always, like, maybe someday it'll get kind of like revamped and reposted. One thing is I always wanted to do like credit sequences where we kind of like revisit each character one more time: the bus driver, the landlord, the Petunia, who only has one line in the whole cartoon. Maybe Gladys, I forget. I don't know if I wrote one for her, but Mr. Shivers was going to have a scene. I wrote a bunch of scenes, little mini, like little blurby scenes to kind of just like foreshadow future cartoons a little bit, and to kind of give us like a last, like where we left them off kind of thing. A last look at where like some of the characters were left off. For instance, Ratso, he was still going to be standing at the wall or something and be like, I gotta get home or something. I don't remember what I wrote, but I do have a script for those little bonus scenes somewhere. But yeah, that's up on YouTube now. So I hope people like it. What else is going on in this life of mine? I don't know. Let's see. Just drawing. I don't know. Doing this book one page at a time. So if you don't know, I've been drawing this entire book here on YouTube. I've recently started streaming to Twitch as well. So I started with the front cover, did the back cover, did a bunch of like opening, like front material for the book, and then I've drawn every single page here on YouTube so far. So I'm not always good at keeping the content of the pages close to my chest either. I kind of have a bad habit of explaining what's going on every page. So if you want to, this is one way to do a web comic, I suppose. But someday I'll be pitching this book to publishers maybe, or maybe a crowdfunding if that doesn't seem to pan out. I don't know. We're figuring it out as we go. Right now, we're inking the book. That's how come Ink the Book Show. Look at him. He's a survivor. Okay, and then there's this blast. Back hill. Let's see. So man, I feel like I've had a good streak of pretty like more entertaining shows. If I do say so myself. And I feel like this one's liable to be disappointing by comparison. Well, so what was it? The last few, there was a 4-hour stream I did with my brother, who composed an entire song throughout it. Finished the track by the end of the stream, like in about a little more than the time it took me to ink the page. He made a whole song, and it's like kind of it started out as a parody of Power Rangers song, and that's my brother Liam, who is starting a podcast called Nam Just here on YouTube. He's calling it a podcast. I feel like it's just a YouTube show, but whatever. What do I know? And sometimes I'm on it. Sometimes my other brothers are on it. I recorded 2 with him, and I felt like I had a lot of stuff to say on that second one, and they suppressed it. And then they didn't ask me back for the next 2. So I don't know. But I'll be back, I'm sure. They wanted to do... He was talking about how he wanted to do one at my house where we're all together in the same room at some point. And I welcome them to do that. We're all brothers and we see each other all the time, so we'll make it happen eventually. Anyway, yeah, so there was the show where he made it was like a parody of a Power Rangers theme song or something at first, and he called it Big Bad Biker Boys. So that was a really fun one. Oh my gosh, I never laughed so much. I mean, like, it was hilarious while he was making it, but every time I listened to Big Bad Biker Boys, he sent me the track right after, and every time I listened to it, it like I melt. It just, I can't get through it without laughing my face off. Because it's got like 3 different parts, and it's like by the time one part ends, it's like I've forgotten about the next part. I don't know. Big Bad Biker Boy. It's good. If nothing else, you can check out that stream, the end of that stream, to hear that song. Or you can watch the whole dang thing and see how it was made. Because he's recording all the vocals and everything while he's streaming on this channel and everything too. He records the drums, he's playing the keys and stuff. And it comes together really fast. I mean, 4 hours, but and it usually doesn't take me 4 hours to ink a page, but that day it did because there were bountiful distractions on the show. What else? So the next couple, I think I did. I was going through notebooks of the first drawings of Bonehead, and then the other day, my last stream, I aired the cartoon that I made. And that was the first project where I decided I wanted to try and make a new project every year. Though so far it's been like every 2 years because they get a little unwieldy. Making an animated cartoon, I want to say that 60-minute cartoon, writing it, storyboarding it, everything, I did that all myself. The hardest part was the sound. Getting the sound to work was the biggest, most murderous part of the whole project. If I had to pick one, I'm gonna get my pencil out and kind of clarify what's going on here. My brother Liam, he's working on an album right now. He makes music in his free time while he works his day job, just like I work on my comic during my free time when I'm not at my day job. And I was trying to get them to record one here tonight, come to think of it, the Nam Just podcast, as it's called. I should put the link. I don't have it queued up, though. One day I'll put the link up. Oops. Oh, I also played on one of the recent streams, I forget which one, I played a piece of music that I made with my other brother Jimmy years ago called Why Are You Staring at the Sun? So it's been that's what I really want on this show is like it'd be cool to have me and my siblings or my friends just all on here like working on something together. There was a point on that Big Bad Biker Boys stream where I was working on the comic, Liam was working on that song, and my sister came on and she was showing us how fast she can do a Rubik's Cube. It was something like 3.5 minutes. And she used to be faster. She said her record was like 2:20 or something like that. I think she told me 2:24 once. But that'd be cool. I think one time my other sister was on here painting, but I don't think you could see what she was painting. I don't remember. That'd be cool, you know? I want to make this an art show. Yeah, you know what? Even before Ben called me last night, I remember I was looking at this page and I was like, I don't think I'm going to be able to do a full page tonight. Like I was only going to do a couple panels anyway, I think, with how late it was on top of it. It was already like 7 o'clock. No, it was like approaching 8 o'clock. And this page is a bit more complicated than the ones I've done recently. The cool thing is I haven't really like I'm bouncing all over the place. But the cool thing about my Bonehead pilot, like showing that, was I was hearing from people, I was getting feedback from people that, like on different platforms that I haven't advertised it to yet. Like the next day I was hearing feedback from people on like my Facebook, and I haven't mentioned to anyone on Facebook that I had posted that. And so it's like, it's cool. It's like I'm getting like people are tuning in. I appreciate it. It doesn't always feel like you're being watched, but sometimes the numbers and the feedback, it really says otherwise. I'm grateful. It's easy to feel like you're just a mental case talking to yourself sometimes. Not that that would stop me. Let's see. Darn it. Dag nabbit. Am I still on screen? Yeah, okay. My trembling hands like to wander off screen and start drawing where you can't see me. Speaking of trembling hands, I gotta get... No, not trembling hands. I don't know. Not speaking of anything I've spoken of yet. I just thought of some other thing that isn't related to the phrase trembling hands. I was thinking, like, man, you know what would be a good movie to see in theaters? Ghostbusters Afterlife. But I always sit on my hands with that, and I saw it on DVD and Blu-ray when I was at the grocery store the other day. They just had a whole display of it on DVD. I was like, oh, missed that boat. But such is life. Okay. Verb crash. Okay. Tea. Ow. That was my tea mug. I was trying to wave it under the camera like I do sometimes. Okay. Here's Mr. Bonehead. I was telling someone I do have plans for a second Bonehead cartoon, but I think if I do it, I have it outlined where I could break it into 5 different parts, and it would be kind of like 5 separate cartoons, but it would they would tie together as, like, they could be tied together as one episode, and they'd all be about different things. Heck, the first one's a little bit like that. There's like multiple parts to that. But my reasoning for that is it just takes so long to make a cartoon that long. I mean, for me anyway, it took me so dang long to make a cartoon that long, and to kind of like, when it gets to, like I've said before, the backgrounds and the audio just took forever to organize and plan and get close to right. Then I think it would be so much easier. If it's just me, it would be so much easier to break it off into smaller chunks. A 3-minute cartoon is way less daunting than a 16-minute cartoon. I don't know when I would ever get to that, though, but I do pay a lot of money for Adobe Animate for as little as I'm using it lately, and still paying for it. I should do something. I was also like one of the last streams, I was flipping through my notebooks and found the run cycle that I did for like a Bonehead little video game thing that I really is what I created Bonehead for originally. This little class project for my buddy Ben. And I found the run cycle that I originally animated for that. I don't know if I'll ever find those files of that little game, but I was thinking that would be cool to reanimate Bonehead's run. I don't have his head, just his running body. And then I animated his head in Flash on top of the body separately, but I thought that would be cool to redo that. It would be so cool to find those files of like the animations I did for his attacks, and like the jump and the death animation, and I'm hoping those still exist in some form somewhere. I think I know where they'd be, but I'd have to take some time and a little bit of money to dig it up. And, who knows if it's even there. Ugh. I've been wrong about the other places I thought it was so far. Not sure what's going on in this corner. I'm gonna redraw that. Let's see now. And draw a countertop. This little laboratory is filled with countertops. Put a little flask over here. A little cork in it. That's what Bonehead does at this factory. He corks the flasks. Okay. There's a cabinet door here. A little drop shadow. And then that's good enough because his dialogue's he's gonna be saying something somewhere on this panel. I don't want it to be. Let's see, maybe I will do something. To kind of carry on the perspective of this wall. Let's see, make sure it's at the right angle. I don't know what this is, but maybe some kind of monitor. I don't know. Some little cord dangling from it. Or wire. Countertop. Drop shadow. glug. Drinking on the job. Drinking tea. Okay, here's the corner of the room. I'm going to draw the foreground here. I'm going to make these lines a bit thicker, I think. I guess I am. He doed it. He willy doed it. I'll do... Okay. Oh, on that Namjust thing, the episode, I think it's the second episode, the first one that I'm not in. Or maybe it's the third, I don't know, that I am also not in. Liam's explaining the Big Bad Biker Boys thing. And he's telling our brother Mike about it. And he's like, yeah, it was gonna be like Big Bad Beetleborgs or something, but you know, Ryan always gets scared of copyright infringement or something. And I was like, that's not what it was. It was like, I was all for him making a Big Bad Beetleborgs thing, but then it sounded so good that I was like, don't waste this track on by putting someone else's name on it, you know what I mean? I was like, make it your own thing, whatever it is. Like, and that was before he wrote any of the lyrics to it. I was like, man, don't kind of give it away for free to some other property, like, is what I was kind of thinking. It was like immediately so good to me, I thought. And it was like better than I thought he could come up with that fast. And that would be so cool if like we did more streams like that where he just put together a track from scratch on here while I'm drawing. I would love that. It just makes it feel like I'm in an art studio. You know, that's what I'm looking for. It's like I want my artist friends and my artistic siblings to get in here and work on art while we just like shoot the breeze. That would be a dream come true. At the end of that song, he belches really loud, and then in the background you hear him saying, "Somebody get me a beer." Oh my goodness. There is one detail that I never hear. Like, I never remember to listen for it, but I've never, like, even when I tried to, I never hear it. And it's apparently during the first verse, I don't give a damn what you say. I don't give a damn what you do. I think it's then. I forget, but apparently he recorded himself going like hawking a loogie and put it underneath some of the vocals, but I never hear it. I wish it was somewhere a little more prominent. Don't show your face in this saloon, or I'll tear your spine into two. Let's see. I think this is all going to go to black inside this wall. Oh, but this is also going to go to black. Maybe I'll leave it open. Maybe I'll leave it white in here. Because this is all going to be charred out here. And I can always color it darker in there when I do the colors, right? Okay. Yeah, but as far as inking, I think it's more important to color this black than the inside of the wall black. Now, I could do the white line thing, like kind of like that, but I don't think I want to do that in this case. Plus, I like the faint lines on the little silt falling down. faint line work, which would disappear if I put that all to black and around it, you know. Just making compromises and justifying my decisions. So I found, since I've started making this comic, that like 90% of making a comic is just like little bits of problem solving, like start to finish. So like what I did when I finished the script, I got myself a stack of note cards, and I kind of broke the pages down into beats, like I would write a line. Here, let me show you. I should have my script here somewhere. It's hiding. Here it is, I think. Yeah. It's a little disheveled, maybe. I might be missing my brush. So this is page 3. This was wrapped in some other stuff. So some of my pages are somewhere else, I think, but they're probably right there where I got the rest of this, but I'm not going to go looking too deeply right now. So I would just go through the script, maybe even just a chunk at a time, if not the whole thing. Just the part I was trying to draw in the next week or something. So I would take note cards separately. Well, I'll get to that. So first I would go through the script and just be like, I want this to be a panel. I want this to be a panel. I want this to be a panel. And I know that the way I was going to set up my pages was based on I'll show you right here. The way I set up my panels, it's really based on a 6-panel structure, right? So 2 panels, like if this were broken up perfectly in my mind, it's 3 rows of panels, and like a perfect page would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I even have some pages that are broken up just that way. Now I always try to stagger, like if I did a 6-panel page, I would try to generally stagger the break in the lines, so to give it a little bit of dynamic in the panels. Was something I was thinking about a lot. Here I broke this one into 3 panels, and that's kind of decided at the script phase a little bit. Sometimes I would do like I would kind of break down what I was thinking. Let's see, like when I divided this page up into apparently 5 panels, of course I see 4. I don't know. But so I would just take beats and figure out what I wanted to be in one panel, right? And then I would draw a line under it, and I would kind of like be thinking about how I was going to actually break up those panels on the page as I did it. And I'd be like, okay, well, this one I'll be able to squeeze 7 panels in. This one, I think I'm only going to get 7 as well. This one's only going to be 6. 6, 4. So if you look, so this apparently is page 7 of the comic. It's page 4 of the script. But panel 6, panel 7, then I start page 8. Here's panel 1, so panel 1 is going to be the king saying, "Of course, I could never part with it." Panel 2, Denton's expression drops. Denton Crux says, "I beg your pardon." And then panel 3 is the king saying all this stuff. Panel 4, Crux has his back to the king and glances back snidely. "Precarious living, wouldn't you say?" Panel 5, king shrugs, "Perhaps." Panel 6, Denton Crux, angry. "What, you have a hunch the power's never going to go out?" And then we start on the next page, and he continues this dialogue in panel 1 on the next page. So that's kind of how I was determining the pages. I forget how I started that. But that's a little bit of how I planned out the panels. Just kind of like feeling for where to start and stop a panel, like how much was going to go into each panel. And sometimes it's like once in a while, it was like a lot going into a panel. Like sometimes it's just a bit of dialogue. Sometimes it's like there's a lot of action I'm trying to squeeze into one panel. Let's see if I can find this. I doubt it. Well, it'll say page 101 probably. Or somewhere very close to it, but oh, there was a chunk I wasn't paneling. Oh, that's what I was talking about. So as I was kind of breaking down the script, I would kind of sketch out the page onto a note card. And as I had broken it down in the script, and then I would just doodle it real simple, just kind of like loosely figure out the composition of the page. And then once I did the whole book that way, I eventually transitioned it onto the comic page. These art boards, these 11 by 17 art boards. And I would kind of rely a lot on these little measurements, these pre-measured blue lines. So where my panels kind of are inset, that's a predetermined line on the page that I'm going by. Like you might be able to see in between my panels, there's a line there already. So that's what I used for my panel border throughout the book. There's some that like extend all the way out to the page, but generally throughout the book, or there's even some where some panels go out to this next line, this little dotted line here that I don't know if you'll be able to see. There's a little dotted line that I don't see on the screen, and then this solid line. Um, but sometimes I would extend it out to there. Sometimes I would extend it out to this line. Sometimes I would extend it out to the full page. But generally, the home base for the panel borders is this in this book. And then I made all my gutters 2 millimeters wide, I believe it was. Yeah. And a lot of the times I was measuring that with this thing, which is 4 millimeters wide. And then I'd always put these little ticks to figure out if I was going to do it exactly against. Trying to focus. I would use like these little, like I would put a halfway mark and then a halfway mark between each of those halfway marks, or between that halfway mark. And then sometimes I would do my panel border lined up with that. Sometimes I would do it right in the middle. So, yeah, I don't know. So that's a little bit on my page planning, which, like, I'm not a very technical guy, but once I got in like a kind of a system going, that became like a pretty fun part of this. Like doing the layout of the page, it became kind of like really relaxing to do. And I would just, let me see, did I lay out the panels before the artwork at all? I don't think so. I think I would maybe. I kind of recall that I might have gone ahead and paneled out in the pencils, paneled out like 4 pages at a time, and then I would have them ready for that week. Or, like I'd panel like 4 or 8 pages at a time, and then I would have like my week's pages ready or something like that, or the next few days panels ready or pages ready. But like, and then like doing a bunch of pages at a time was just like really like relaxing. It was kind of like hypnotic. But also, like, if you're paneling out 4 pages at a time, or I mean 8 pages at a time, like that itself can take us like a decent amount of time to do, to plot out and lay down. Where it'd be like, sometimes it was like that's all I had time to do in a day. And but the way I justified that was like, well, that's still like a percentage of the project getting done. So if you don't have time to draw a page, maybe you could panel a couple pages, and that's still that's still you spending time on the project. You know what I mean? There's always something to do. And if you can't do one aspect, you can always work on the next aspect. One thing I got to do is look, and I keep putting it off. I got to go get to a library and or somewhere and scan these pages, since I don't have an 11 by 17 scanner. I'm not going to do all kinds of acrobatics to scan them on the scanner I do have and piece them together in Photoshop. That's something my sister is capable of doing pretty well, but I'm not looking to be stitching together Photoshop files like that all day. I need something that's going to scan them in one shot. Oh man, I'm getting way ahead of myself. Wonk. I can do a little bit of that. Let me get all this black in first, though, maybe. Do the corner of these pieces of wood a little heavier so you can see a little better that it's a three-dimensional object. Okay. Okay. Man, I'm already thinking about lunch. I've only got 2 out of 5, 6, 7 panels. Push this a little bit. So I made, last night I made some stuffed peppers with pork sausage and black beans and mozzarella, and there's tomatoes and sour cream, and oh, it's so good. I had 2 last night and I have 2 more waiting for me. And somebody was saying my last pages were detailed, and I don't know. I think this is one of the most detailed pages I've done in a while. And I mean, at least just looking at it, it's one of the more complicated pages I've had in a while. And then I'm looking at the next one, and that's about as bad as this one. This little blaster fight. And this is technically yesterday's page. I would like to get another stream in where I do the next page today. But they're fun pages, but a little daunting to want to tackle. Okay. Don't show your face in the saloon, or I'll break your spine into two. Saloon. Okay. That looks positively charred. Right? Wrong? I don't know. Okay. I will say that the quality between that cartoon, the Bonehead cartoon, and the Bonehead comic, way up. I suspect if I made another cartoon, it would be also way up. But I guess I can only prove that by doing it, right? Okay. Okay. Oh my gosh. Again with the Big Bad Biker Boys, that when he's doing that hi ho, and then there's like, and then he does the scream, but there's like the siren thing under it that makes it just sound like he's rocketing into space or something. Oh my goodness. How did he do that so well so quickly? And he's not exactly like the Power Rangers generation, you know? But I feel like he nailed that sound. Then made a big dumb goofy song out of it. A la Liam. Okay. I wanted to do a little shadow here. So that's that panel. Now we've got our unnamed alien, whose name is Billy TV. We just don't know that yet in the story. And he's like, I don't know, it seems like there's like his blaster's charging or something. It's like winding up a shot. Whatever you call that. And then got these eyebrows. Okay. So I'm gonna leave this line here. I'll show you if I can. I'm gonna leave the edge of that eyebrow uninked to make it look like the light is like illuminating it white against his skin color. Like when it's colored, like the color will bridge the gap, but it's his skin color is probably going to be lighter too, but it's like a lighting effect I'm going for. And this is like a shadow edge of his face. The weird thing is I feel like I'm always having to come up with new things for each page. It's like I'm not holding on to any particular bag of tricks so far. I'm always trying to I don't know. It's like I'm never relying on stuff I've used before necessarily. It doesn't feel that way anyway. It's like there's always something new that pops into my mind that I can try for different things. Like, I don't think I've done this kind of like lighting effect heretofore in this book. But that's kind of cool because it means I've come up with something different for this particular like action scene where it might just stand out as kind of special. I don't know. I haven't done it yet. I haven't finished doing it yet. Like this little little line shadow stuff hatching. Camera's in my face though. I might have referenced, I don't know though. I really don't. I might have referenced some, like the blaster here looks very Earthworm Jim and Spaceman Spiff. So I'm certain that the pose that he's holding it in, I'm certain I was looking at a lot of Earthworm Jim and Spaceman, or Spaceman Spiff is Kelvin and Hobbes, you know. I'm pretty certain I was looking at those a lot as I was drawing this page. I've drawn his gun a bunch of different ways over the years because I've sketched him holding blasters before, but I never quite settled on what the official way his gun looked was. And then I guess here it is, looking pretty identical to Spaceman Spiff and Earthworm Jim. Which both are pretty much same thing. Like, I would say Earthworm Jim probably ripped off Spaceman Spiff's gun before I did. But it's fair. It's a generic sci-fi blaster. That's all I really needed. I think it's only in this scene. I think. I'm going to do the same thing as his eyebrow on the edge of his shirt here, the bottom of his shirt. I'm going to pick a select few of the brightest spots of him, I think, and do that. Just kind of like leave the line open. Here's the first inkling of his what's on his t-shirt in the story. Billy is not in my cartoon. He's not in the animated one. And because there was always going to be a story where he comes in, or where he's introduced. Because while everybody is something in Necropolis, Billy's the only alien you'll see around because he has to actually be an alien in this world. Let's see. Uh-huh. And then his blaster is going to have some shadow past that rim. I should be making it parallel to that rim, but I don't seem to be doing that so far. Because, hack. Let's see. You know what I could do? I could always take a white pen and get that edge a little more deliberate on that little shadow, so it's a little tighter. I'll wait for that to dry a tad, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Though I could also do, to make it a little more stronger, I'm going to make this line thicker. To show it's, there's a disparity between, like it's sitting on top. I want to put a drop underneath this little stem here where that's coming out, but I think with the electricity, I don't think there'd be any shadow in there. Cool. See, and where this line stops, so I left that open, the buckle, I left that open, and where this line of the foot stops, it'll kind of like inform that. In fact, I think I'm going to clean that up a little too. Because I went a little farther than I meant to. I went slightly farther than where I meant to. Ever so slightly. Are these pens? I can't tell if they're actually doing anything sometimes at first. Get a different one. Okay, that one I'm seeing ink. So it'll help inform the lack of line. It'll be easier to define when you put the colors in and separate the shapes with the colors. But it's not. I wouldn't be lost if it didn't in that instance. But that's something that used to show up in a lot of. I was trying to explain it one time and find an example of it in some of Doug TenNapel's old books, because he used to do that a lot, especially on gear. Let's see. I have one picture specifically in mind in gear that makes use of that. Let's see if I can find it. A bunch of junk. I have two editions of gear, and maybe it'll be a little more. I was trying to find it in this edition, 20th anniversary edition. Let me see. See, like these trees right off the bat. Like, see that the non-line that he does just real heavy shadow on this side, no line on this side, and then these other objects that are all black, they kind of help inform the missing line. He did a lot of that in this book. Like, you can see it here with this walkie-talkie. Like, his face is kind of helping inform most of the line, and your eye kind of does the work. If this was in black and white, you would still understand what was going on here. This is the old version, and it's not colored as well, but you can see, like, I can see that he was doing it with this like little antenna, and it just didn't get colored, but I'll bet you in the new edition it is. This is the picture I was thinking of. Uses it a lot. His lips, his eyeballs, his ears. See where this ends? And then he kind of starts it. He starts the corner, and your eye does the rest of the work. And it makes for a very good visual effect. Like I say, it would work in black and white even. You would kind of understand what you were looking at. And it's a lighting trick. And then the color, I think, helps it pop a lot. But let me see if I can find that walkie-talkie. See, when it wasn't colored, it kind of disserviced it a little bit, I thought, that image. Where it didn't work, but because it was just ignored in the coloring, it looked like. Now I can't find it in this edition. I'm just going page by page on this book. Let's see. It wasn't that far in, though. Oh, who knows? Oh, here it is. See? It works if it's colored. And it would work in black and white. You would just understand what's going on. But I mean, when they just colored straight through it here and then left this like it wasn't anything. And it's the same colorist that did both editions. But yeah. Anyway, you kind of see what I mean. I think time to get back to work. And that's like to a minor effect. I'm trying to do a little bit of that. Like I'm doing it a lot more timidly, perhaps, right here. Let's see. Okay. Do some on the brim here, edge of the brim. And then I'm going to give this a thicker line as well. It's going to go into the edge. Give that a thicker line. Because we want to give the illusion that there's a heavy shadow. The heavy shadow on one side and the lightness on the rest is going to imply the light shining right on him. Is kind of what I'm going for. Oh, it's Malfoy Rodriguez. And it's my daddy.
Hello?
Hello.
Who you is?
I am who I am.
That's all that you are?
What's that?
That's all that you are?
No more, no less.
There you go. I just watched your cartoon again, and I thought I'd come on and see how you're doing today.
I'm doing well.
Have you been on for 2 hours already?
Nearly, yeah.
Oh, I just saw that you were on now.
That's fine. Yeah, I've been drawing this action page for Bonehead's getting blasted at, and he's diving out of the way. There's a big crater in the wall now, and this alien's shooting at him. But he's a lousy shot, isn't he?
Yeah.
It goes over his head, then it's like fa-zing is what that's supposed to say, not zing-fa. Fa-zing, and like in the satellite, and then kind of goes past his head. So he's kind of shooting at himself there. It's...
Nice.
So what do you... Huh?
It's nice. Nice action shots.
So what's new?
Just finished work.
Yeah. You were saying last time I talked to you, which was at the tail end of some other stream, you were saying you made an appointment to get your knees done?
Yes, I did. And I just got off the phone. I made an appointment. I have to go to a regular doctor, a cardiologist, and a dentist before.
A dentist?
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But they don't want
To
to
get your knees
don't have
replaced?
infections or blood clots afterwards.
Hmm.
Gave me the serious face and told me, "I know who you are. Don't go on your knees for 3 to 6 months afterwards, because if you get a blood clot, it could even be as bad as fatal." I was like,
Wow.
okay.
Dude. Yeah, don't go killing yourself.
"Yeah, well, that's what he was trying to say." I'm gonna go stir crazy.
Yeah. Man, when is that happening?
March 11th so far. I have to jump through all these hoops.
Oh, right. So it's kind of hinged upon you getting all that stuff completed.
Yeah. So I'm trying to do everything that's right so I can get done and get back to work before spring is over. But not on my knees, of course.
I'm gonna do it a little wider here. Miss it again.
He's not looking. That's why he's blowing his shots all over the place.
Yeah. I think Bonehead says at one point, like, there's an alien trying to kill me, and then a shot goes like astray again, and he's like, and he's a terrible shot.
Who is the guy shooting him?
In the story, he's not named yet, but he's this alien from a planet called Montana, and his name is Billy TV.
I was going to say you should name him Malfoy Rodriguez.
Yeah, everyone always does the funny names when they come on here, but I have the names turned off so it doesn't show up.
No.
But I usually try to say the name before I put them on.
It didn't really much to come up
So
with
it
that.
doesn't go to total waste. Huh?
It really didn't take much to come up with that one.
No.
It was on the tip of my tongue. Don't ask me why.
That's how I do all my Instagram posts. I just make like I always make up a name just as I'm posting it. Did you see this one?
No.
Jeremiah Fist for a Face. And it wasn't like I was drawing it thinking Jeremiah Fist for a Face, but
I would have just called him Fisterface for short.
Mr. Face.
Mr. Fisterface.
Yeah. Mr. Fisterface. Did I finish this one? Maybe I should do some kind of
Behind his leg.
What's that?
You need to finish the shadow behind his leg.
Behind his leg?
Yeah, the other one.
Oh, you're right. I always finish these pages online, and then I immediately start noticing a bunch of stuff that I didn't get.
Like the shadow behind his leg.
Yeah.
I was watching you yesterday or the other day.
Oh yeah.
I was like yelling at the screen going, "Go back and get that. Go back and get it." But you did. So
yeah, sometimes I catch myself on stream, but there's always like little details I always find.
You come up with a lot of details. I was kind of impressed with, like, you had the hand on the button, and then behind it, that was a squared off picture, but behind it was a bookshelf, and you were doing like when you started facing it, and I'm like, oh my god, he's gonna do it. He's gonna do each little book on the shelf.
Oh, I hate bookshelves so much, but I always draw them into things.
But it was so detailed, and you did the details of the details. And I was like, oh my God, it's so tedious what you do.
Yeah, can be.
Yeah, that's what makes it good, though, I think. That and your impressions. I can help time if you want.
What's that?
I can help you with voices sometime if you want.
Oh, sure.
You know, you got that from somebody.
I was saying for Mort's voice, I thought I was just kind of doing Teddy from Bob's Burger, like a kind of like a sort of a Teddy from Bob's Burgers.
Yeah.
And then I realized just recently, like I had been watching Cheers at the time, and I think he's kind of like Cliff from.
Yeah.
It's not quite Cliff and it's not quite Teddy, but it's some kind of like compromise between the two.
And that's why it works.
Yeah.
God. Starting to look like you.
Shut up. We're losing our hair at the same rate.
Yeah. You know what happens when my hair gets in my eyes? If I go, and they're gone.
Away they go. They won't be causing any more trouble around here.
Not for me, anyway. I know I'm going to go stir crazy afterwards. I won't be able to go to work, and I won't be able to drive anywhere.
Mom won't be able to dream up any projects for you. She's like, of course you can paint the bathroom. Just stay off your knees.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the scary one. Though. I mean, you had to see the look on his face. He's like, I know you. Like, I know people like you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he didn't blink. Don't go on your knees for 3 to 6 months until I say it's okay. He goes, 3
to 6 months.
For a little bit, 3 to 6 months.
That's a long time.
Especially for somebody that's been working on his knees for the past 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a habit. Of course, they said once they do that, I won't be bow-legged anymore. They'll straighten it out.
Bow-legged? Have you been bow-legged? I guess a little bit.
A little?
You have been.
Little?
Yeah, you walk like a
cowboy.
Like a cowboy who's been smashed to pieces and just reassembled himself.
We were talking about my Bronco busting days in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah.
God,
Man, so we were riding horses one time out in Pennsylvania on a vacation, like a family vacation, and we're like single file line of horses, like following a predetermined path, like nothing wild and dangerous about this little excursion.
Down a path.
Yeah.
In a row.
What's that?
13 horses in a row.
Yeah, because there were a lot of us. And
I'll give you a little bit of a background. My horse kept sniffing my wife's Nancy's horse, sniffing his tail to the point where her horse got aggravated to the point where it reared up and kicked my horse in the face with its hind legs.
Yeah.
While I was sitting on his back while we were walking down the trail. And then he was real jittery, and he just, I mean, even after he got kicked in the face, his nose went right back up that other horse's tail. And then Liam's horse was up in the front, and he all of a sudden broke to the left, and that startled my horse. It was jittery already, caused him to lose it and start bucking. First, he started jumping up and down, and I took my fist and pounded him on the head, like between his ears, hoping that would like get him to stop doing that. And he did, but he started kicking up his back legs.
Oh man.
And
yeah.
And he was just full blown Bronco. And he was jumping all over the place.
Yeah, with you on him.
With me on him. and I grabbed onto the saddle horn with one hand, and I was grabbing his mane with the other hand, and was trying to get him to calm down. But I think all I did was aggravate him more because he kept bucking and bucking, and I was like getting shaken from the inside out. And it got to a point where my legs were gripped around him, and finally I had two hands on the saddle horn, and I was thinking I'm not going to be able to make this another 10 seconds. And the horse stopped in 8 seconds. I was just able to outlast him, but it was luck because I was ready to fall.
Yeah, that looked pretty wild.
Yeah, and I remember
was the like the guide or whoever, were they?
She was.
Did they do anything?
She said she was impressed.
Yeah.
So was I. And then I remember Tara and Jillian's horses just stopped and turned around and faced the other way because they were timid. The little girls got the timid horses. I got the one. They said because I had said I had the most experience, they gave me the horse that hadn't been taken out before.
Oh.
In other words, always keep your mouth shut in that situation. No, I have no experience. Otherwise, you get to buck the bronco. So anyway, I should have charged him for breaking the horse.
Yeah. What was your experience prior? Did you have any like notable experience, or was it just like pony rides and stuff?
Oh no, I had horses before, but I did have another horse that spit the bit and jumped a fence and stood up on his hind legs. And if I hadn't been shitting in my pants, I would have yelled "Hi-Yo Silver."
That was with you on it too?
Yeah, there was another one.
Holy smokes! You've told me that before, but I forgot that was a thing.
Stood up, my feet were in the stirrups, and I was.
Isn't that the end of a Three Stooges episode?
It must have been. But I remember when he stood up, I was standing up in the stirrups, like standing straight up while the horse was standing straight up. And then when he came down, it was a hard blast back into the saddle.
Oh yeah.
And then the guide came by. Once the horse found out I turned him around and was heading back to the stable, he was a pussycat, and he just trotted back there, no problem. So maybe I shouldn't ride horses anymore. But I've been on horses a few other times where there was no incident too.
Yeah.
So, but if I ever go again and they say, "Do you have any experience?" I'm going to say very little.
What's a horse? So what's on the agenda for today?
I went to work today.
I mean, anything else going on?
Not that I know of. I'll find out. Find out in a little bit. I was trying to change the weather strip in the door the other night, and I bought some stuff that was too thick, and I put it in and the door wouldn't close all the way. So I had to like kind of slam it. Sometime in the middle of the night, like Tara had gone out and come back home, and she thought she closed the door tight enough, and she hadn't. It wasn't her fault. It was the weather strip, but the door was open, and I woke up around 1:30, and I heard Riley barking, and I'm like, that sounds like it's outside. So I went and I looked out back, and I opened the door, and I was calling him, and come on, Riley, let's go. He wasn't coming, but I could hear him barking. And I go, maybe he is in the bedroom. And I walked over by the bedroom door. No, he's not in there, because I heard him barking again. And then I go, but that is definitely outside. And then I looked at the front door and saw that it was open. And he was out front, and there was a car with a lady going, go on, girl, go home to your house. Go back home, girl. And I didn't want to correct her. I just called him, and he came in. Yeah, I said, Riley. And she said, yeah, he's coming now. And then I had to slam the door, slam it for the night. And I fixed it now. I went out and got the right size weather strip yesterday, and we're good.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, important though. You got to get the right stuff.
Yeah.
It looked the same. It looked pretty close to the same, but it was a little too thick and the door wouldn't close.
Uh-huh.
So I knew I was in trouble. But of course, taking out the old one, it ripped. It was no good anymore. So I had to use that one for the night. That's what. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah, and like everything's like getting all wonky here. My bathtub like a couple weeks ago. I think Tyler and Lindsay had just been getting ready to go somewhere, and then they left the house. And I went upstairs, and I was in the bathroom, and I hear water running. I was like, "What's going on?" And I'm like, "Are you kidding?" They left the tub running, and I went to turn it off, and it was just a steady leak, like a real steady leak. And I was like, "Oh man!" I texted them right away, like, "Oh man, the water's leaking." I sent them a video, like how it was just kind of like running.
Is it coming out?
What's that?
Is it coming out of the shower head or the faucet?
The faucet? And I mean, I fixed it in like 10 minutes after I sent them that video.
Oh.
I just like took a screwdriver and tightened it, and it was fine, like good as new. But,
yeah, keep an eye on that.
But then now, like, there's a couple. What's bothering me? Like one of our downstairs toilet. It's like you got to hold it for it to flush all the way, and then our upstairs bathroom, like the light. I think I'm pretty sure that's going to be like a quick screwdriver fix too. But the light flickers if you don't like push the light switch up all the way. It's always something.
Yeah. You can change a light fixture. I mean, a light switch. It's easy.
Yeah.
Even I've done that.
Yeah. I was just going to look that up today, maybe, and see if I could fix it real quick.
Easy enough. Just make sure that you hook it back up the same way as the old one.
Oh, yeah.
I try to replace things with the same type. That way it fits in better.
Mm-hmm.
As otherwise, you end up having problems. Especially with light switches and stuff.
I remember one time I thought I was being funny. Like, I think you had taken off the light switch plates to paint. And, Liam's saying he's going to do some streaming tonight, or we're going to record a new thing tonight. I can do that. But what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. You'd taken all the plates off the light switch covers. And I wandered into a room, and thinking I was being funny, I was like, ooh, shiny. And I like stuck my finger in there and touched it, and I got like, it wasn't really bad, but it's like, it serves me right for thinking I'm funny or whatever.
One time when I was working for the city, I was working with this one girl, and she needed to go home and get something. So she's like, will you come with me? And yeah, sure. So we went to her apartment building, and we were going up into the hallway on the elevator, and they were painting the hallways. They're painting them. So they had all the plates off, including the one on the elevator for the buttons. And I touched the button, and I started going, pretending like I got shocked. Oh, yeah. And then I dropped to the ground, and I was laying there. And she's going, oh my God, are you okay? I go, yeah. She goes, Michael, you're a trip.
Were you? I don't think you were talking about it on here. But recently you were talking about the April Fool's joke that you played on.
That was horrible.
On my sisters.
I had the kid passing out flyers when I first started doing my own thing, my own business part, and they were in a neighborhood passing out flyers, and I had Tara with me.
Mm-hmm.
She was
My
young.
youngest sister.
She was young. She was like 3-4 years old, and Kaylee was about 12, something like that, I think. And Mikey
She had to
was
be younger because I was 13 then.
okay, so she was younger.
This is at the last Streamwood house.
No, I was here because
Okay. Then she might have been 12.
Tara was with me. So Tara was born in 2002, and we moved here in 2003, I think, right? Yeah.
Yes.
And okay, so she was about 3 years old. Had to be like 2006. So I don't know how old Kaylee was, but not very old, maybe 12. And they were out walking around the neighborhood, and she kind of called me and asked if I was going to be back soon, and I said, well, I had to go to the hospital because I was in an accident and Tara got hurt. I didn't realize. See, I was very close by. I was on my way back to get them, actually. So I thought it was hysterical because it was April Fool's Day. And then I pulled up next to her and I rolled down the window. April Fool. And she had been crying hysterically because she was hurt. Yeah, I was like, yeah, what a jerk. I probably screwed up my kids so badly over the years just trying to be funny.
Yeah. Yes, Donnie Lucifer. I've been drawing this. I drew this whole comic so far in pencils, and I'm currently inking the whole book here on YouTube and Twitch.
Who is Donnie Lucifer for real?
Who is it for real? It's looks like a fan of the show Lucifer, I think, and just someone watching on Twitch.
They can hear me.
Yes.
I'm sorry for that last story. Well, I'm sorry for all the stories I've told. There's a lot more, but they're more.
Notice he apologizes to the audience and not his children.
They have to live with that. They have to live with those scars forever. Yeah, I always try to make myself right with the general public. The family, I figure they can handle it.
Yeah.
Even though they've told me repeatedly that they can't. And so have their psychiatrists.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about the direction I chose to hatch this one.
I just popped in to see how you were doing. I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. Well, thanks for popping in.
Like I said, I saw your cartoon again. Very, very good. I thought it was fun to watch.
Thank you.
Especially since I know all the voice characters.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you, Dad.
Bye. See you later, Danny Lucifer.
That was my daddy. I'm lucky if I can draw a perfect son. Love them stories. the Netflix show. Is it a Netflix show? I thought that was I thought that was like on a network, but it's probably on Netflix now. I don't know. I never saw it. It seems like something a handful of my friends would have really liked when I was in high school, though. Yeah, this is my first graphic novel. I plan on so, like I said, it's a 230-page story where I've penciled the whole book, though I might change some of the pages later on, toward the end before I ink them. But I've drawn the whole story. I'm inking it now. Eventually, I'm gonna color it and letter it and all that. And you say, "Do a draw my life." What's that? Is that like a comic based on my life? This is my comic Bonehead. And recently, I put up on my YouTube channel, which is called Wrangle Shank. I put up a 16, I think it's 18 minutes, including the credits. But I put up a 16-minute cartoon I made of Bonehead a couple years ago. It probably needs some attention in some areas of it, but I wasn't planning on posting it exactly yet, but I figured as long as it was comprehensible, I've been sitting on it for 2 years. I figured I can touch it and upload it again later. But I just kind of wanted to share it. So it kind of will inform the comic a little bit, give a little context while I'm still drawing this one. But it's just about this book. It's about Bonehead decides he's going to start trying to. He's kind of a goof off, and he decides he's going to start. Kind of getting his stuff together. So he's trying to get a promotion at work, and he's going to ask his girlfriend to marry him. And sorry. And then he finds out at work that his bosses are planning on shutting down the poison factory he works at, which is going to mess up his plans, his future plans. And so he sees the top secret project that his bosses are working on that's going to make it so they can close the factory, and he steals it. And it kind of launches him into this big sci-fi fiasco. And that's kind of the point of the story that we're at right now. He just swiped it and threw it into his noggin. And now, right away, he's being fired at by some alien. I'm going to draw the top of its head. Oof. Little janky, that line. How long has this stream been? 2.5 hours almost. This is like kind of an involved page. Usually that's about what it takes me to do a page. Though I've had a couple long pages lately. Trying different like lighting effects on this page with all the blasting going on. So my dad was talking about how he's going to be getting his knees replaced soon. So he'll be like coming up the stairs looking like the living dead. Like he can barely walk. And it kind of freaks me out because my knees already give me trouble. And I'm not even as like active as he is on my knees. Like he's been up and down on his knees for 40 years, painting and doing stuff like that. He sanded floors for a long time. He also played softball into his 40s. And like, I'm just some kind of wimpy artist. I sit at a table and but my knees always give me trouble. Already. And they have for a long time, but I don't know. I'm sure if I were to start exercising and stuff, I could nip that in the bud and not have to have my knees cut out and replaced with I was gonna say silicone ones. Like he's walking around with silicone knees. But no, I think he said titanium at one point when he was talking about it before. But I don't know. I don't know what they replace knees with. But yeah, I'd hate. I can't. I don't want to imagine that happening to me. I barely want to imagine it happening to my dad, but. Okay, so we're doing some hatching here. Yeah, I'll have to look up what a draw my life is. I don't know. I feel like I've seen something like that before, but it was called that, but I don't know. I'm out of touch. Heavier on this side. This side away from the light. Maybe I'll do it on his chest a little bit too. A little thicker line. He's got his little bags under his eyes here. Oh, and this eyebrow. Oh, I haven't even finished hatching his face. It's just pencil down here. So this is page 101. Trying to figure out how to make comics in my free time. This is also largely the first ink and brush stuff I've done. Before now, I've mostly just practiced ink and brush for the past couple of years on little drawings on note cards. Like right before I started this book, I was trying to do 100 Bonehead drawings and then ink them. That's how I kind of I got some practice in right before starting the drawings on this book. We're just learning by doing. That's what's going on here. go. So this is going to be the black edge of the... Let me just mark this off, just so I have some clarity. This is black. This is black. Black, 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 and blacker. Okay, and then this is white, and then I'm going to put that to black. Is that going to work? If this is all black, that's going to make this line useless. So why don't this, like, lack of line? I could do like that. So I like the idea of doing that non-line where I didn't like I didn't ink this side of this arm, you know. Yeah, I think I'll just do that line white, then leave this white, and then do black down here. Let's see. We'll figure it out. We'll figure out what we're going to do. Okay. Where am I? I'm not even on... Oh, okay. I was just... Hit my drawing too high. So I was thinking I was going to do another page tonight, but I think Liam wants to do... My brother Liam has been doing a YouTube show where he wants to record one tonight. Then he usually... I think he doesn't go public with it when we record it on YouTube. And then he edits it and then puts it up the following Tuesday. It's called Namjust. Nahmjust. So I think I'm going to record one of those with him today instead of doing a second stream. On this channel. It's called Namjust because my brother's whole life, every time he's always been like, he always says ridiculous things, and then he goes, "No, I'm just like, no, I'm just kidding. No, I'm just kidding." But he just says, "No, I'm just." And like, it it ended up becoming like a thing between him and his friends. Like they all start talking like him. So he's kind of like starting to use it as his branding. Now I'm just. What if I What if I extend this like fiery looking line out to farther, like match this one, and then do one out here instead? I think that would make sense. See, this is what I was afraid of. I'm like out of stuff to talk about. But it was like the last 4 streams or something. It was like, yeah, I had my brother Liam on, and he made that song about the big bad biker boys. And then the other 2, I was like flipping through notebooks and like talking a lot about art and giving all this art advice. And then the next one, I was I put on the I put the Bonehead pilot cartoon thing that I made at the end of it, and I feel like those were all like really exciting, fun streams. And I was like, the next stream I do, it's not going to be as entertaining unless I get some guests on. And my dad jumped in for a little while. But here I am. 2 panels left to go. What to do, what to do, what to do. I could start a fire. That'd be pretty cool. Gotta put on a show. Gotta put on a show. Well, sir, I could sing a song. Wallaby. No, I'm not gonna do that. Well, I was given some art advice and stuff on this one, but I'm just worried about the next however long it takes me to finish this page. What do I do? Maybe maybe I'll have a baby in the next 40 minutes. What do you think? Would that be fun if I had a baby right now? I think you'd like it if I had a baby. Just gave birth. Right here and now. In front of God and everyone. You'd probably just eat that up, you folk. What am I talking about? Here goes this. Leave a little white to indicate where his pants are. He's got these black pants. Mm-hmm. And then this side. I think this drawing's looking pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about this one. Here's that. Oh, you know what? This is a draw my life. This is my life. This all happened. Must have been Tuesday last. Okay. boardwalk down by the sea. I said I wasn't going to sing a song. Now no one knows what I'm going to do. He's the biggest liar ever I did see. Okay. I think that's a cool panel. And then now for this stinking one, we've got some kind of satellite-y thingy, as they're called. Mm-hmm. Okay. And there's this like rim. And then there's that. Okay. And we've got more blast. So he like fires at Bonehead. I feel like there should be something going on in the background of this panel. Just something. It's not gonna work. I didn't finish hatching his hat either. Maybe I'll do it higher. Bow around the word bow. Because that blast is going to illuminate stuff, and I can do stuff with the colors. I think this is what I'm going to do. Mm-hmm. Let's see. Get a lot of shadows on this page. There's a lot of light flying around. Okay, let's go back to this. I think I'm gonna make. Okay, I think that works. I hit my face on the camera. It's what I do. It's like my calling card. It's how you know you're watching Ryan O'Connor Inc. Every so often, at least once per stream, he like smacks his face on the camera. Though I barely did it this time. I don't even know if my camera moved that much. Usually it's my glasses just knock into it. Okay. I'm ready to be done with this stream and just eat some stuffed peppers. That's what I got waiting for me. Sounds really good right now. So the stuff I'm using right here, it's Speedball India Inc. I kind of showed the bottle earlier. It's a big old 32-ounce bottle that's going to last me this entire book. This is almost halfway through the book, this page. At page 101, and I've barely put a dent in this bottle. So Speedball India Inc. And I'm inking with. Now I've used other India inks, I should say, that have gone on like flatter. If you look at this real close, it's kind of like it's a little watery and see-through in parts. I'm not too worried about it because when I bump up, like when I scan this in and bump up the thresholding, it'll send everything to black or white, and it'll pull it in the direction I need it to be. But yeah, just so you know, I had like a knockoff brand, like a Hobby Lobby brand ink, India ink, before I started using this ink, which went on a lot more flat black. But when I started using the Speedball, the name brand, it's a lot easier on my hands. It's a lot easier to pull a line with it, which, you know, I guess it's a matter of determining what's more valuable to you. Those are the two I have experience with, because I'm still newer to inking this way. But as of right now, I think I will be sticking with the Speedball. And I kind of had a similar experience with brushes before I started inking the pages of this book. Like I was saying earlier, I was practicing inking on note cards. And when I was doing that, I was using like Hobby Lobby brand brushes where you get like 10 to a pack or something like that for $5 or, whatever it is. And I also have a bad habit of not paying attention to how much stuff costs usually. It's not a good habit. But so I would use these Hobby Lobby brand brushes that would come in a bunch of different shapes and sizes to a pack. And once I started doing the pages, I switched to these ones that I had gotten as a gift that I had asked for, which are the same brushes that Bill Watterson used to ink Calvin and Hobbes. Is that stinking camera never focused? But it's Winsor & Newton Series 7 Sable Kolinsky brush. This is size 3, which I've used for most of the pages. But I kind of I'll alternate between size 2 and size 3 a lot. I think I prefer size 2, but my last one kind of out of overuse, or out of just the sheer use I was getting out of it. A bunch of the bristles came out over time, over the course of, like 90 pages or something. Because I was washing it after every use too. And after a while, a lot of bristles were starting to come out. And it got too weak to use anymore. But they're really good brushes. Once I started using this brush as opposed to the Hobby Lobby brand brushes, it was like so much easier to drag my lines out of this brush. And then once I started using the ink with it, it was like, I don't know, I see the value in going name brand, paying a little more for your art tools. It's night and day difference as far as comfortability. Is comfortability a word? I don't know about that. Comfortability. But it's way more comfortable and easier to get through a page, which if you're doing a ton of inking, it's probably a good idea. It's probably something worth investing in, maybe. And I'm on here just about nearly every day. for about, let's see, I think I started August 1st. At least I started streaming August 1st. I think. No, you know what? I think I did page 1 on August 1st. I think I started in July. And so let's see. August, September, October, November, December, January, February. I'm on month 7. Okay. I think I hear the garage door. I think one of my roommates just got home. Yeah. Yep. Oops. He's bringing the garbage cans in, which I suppose is something I could have done at some point during the day. Carry this line through. Oh yeah, I still didn't hatch the rest of this guy's hat. Okay. And now some more. These are like, is that a Frazetta thing? The Frazetta dots or something like that? That's kind of what's going on here. I think of Bill Ray when I do this kind of thing. And Bill Ray is one of my biggest artistic influences. He did a lot of work on Mad Magazine and also Ren and Stimpy. He was like the background. He did a lot of the background paintings for Ren and Stimpy. I think he storyboarded and directed a couple episodes too. But his biggest contribution to Ren and Stimpy, I believe, was the background paintings. which are like one of the most iconic. I don't know. There's a lot of iconic stuff going on with Ren and Stimpy, if you ask me. But and then his biggest contribution to Mad Magazine, as far as I'm concerned, is he did this comic. He did the artwork for this comic called Monroe for many years, which was like the primary reason I would buy Mad Magazine for a long time. Until one day after many years, they changed it to a different artist I saw. I was like, oh, I guess he's not working for Mad Magazine anymore. And then Mad Magazine, like, subsequently kind of dried up. I'm not saying because Bill Ray wasn't there anymore, but, you know, in my opinion, it didn't help. But yeah, he was always one of my favorite artists. He has a comic of his own called that he did at some point called Big Blown Baby, which I bought off eBay, but I never had the guts to open for some reason. I thought it was I didn't want to ruin it or something like that, which seems kind of silly to me. I should find out where I have those kept and open them up. I think I have them on my bookshelf out in the loft outside this room. I'll try and go real faint on this one. Oof. Maybe I should have used a ruler. This is looking sloppy. What am I gonna do? I'll let that dry a little bit. Let me see. Yeah, this has to get cleaned up. That ain't gonna work for me. Okay. Trying to be a big shot. Freehand it. Let's see if I've got a better white than these jelly rolls. Jelly rolls work well sometimes. I think I need new ones as part of it. This is my Presto Jumbo correction pen, which puts them down a lot. It puts the white down a lot thicker. But it can be a little sloppier to use sometimes. It's a fine, what does it say? It says fine point on it, but not as fine as it could be, I suppose. It can bleed a bit. Not bleed. Well, it can. It can. So I'll probably come back and try and address that in a little bit. Here's Billy TV ducking and covering because he fires.
Bow. Blah.
It goes sailing over Bonehead's head into this thing and ricochets out. It must have hit against something else though, because now it's going down. I'm just saying. But it comes right back at him. Gonna pump this one up a bit. You know what? The edge. Just do a sliver of white. Because I figure this is probably going to be an earnest highlight, like white or something. And then this little sliver is going to be like like a little refraction where we see the color of the eye, which is kind of a reddish color. I think I'll probably do like a burgundy in there. And then these other highlights will be maybe, or like maybe this side will be pink, or maybe these highlights will be pink or something. I don't know. Something like that. When the time comes to color. I'm going to continue this. There we go. Here's where we first see it outright, that this character's t-shirt has the word Butte on it. B-U-T-T-E. Which I always thought it was funny to do to like someone out of town, or someone from out of town. Like I had another comic where I specifically made the characters from Montana so the dad could it's a comic I started a long time ago and I never finished it. But I made the family from Montana so I could make the dad wear a shirt that said Butte on it, because I thought that was my idea of a joke, because it looks like butt. And this alien, before I wrote the script, this character, he was, I made the decision a long time ago that like he would be from a planet called Montana and have the word Butte on his shirt, because he's also from out of town. But then when I was writing this story, I was like, well, am I going to have it say Butte on his shirt in the whole book? Like, is that going to make sense? Is that going to be too stupid of a joke? And I actually came up with a reason for it to say Butte on his shirt in this story. Because he's not from America. He's not from the U.S. Butte. He's from a planet called Montana. Are we to believe that the planet Montana also has a place called Butte? Or that Butte is a word in his alien language, coincidentally? I don't know. But I did come up with a pretty... I was satisfied with the reason that he has a shirt that says Butte on it. But I don't want to spoil it here. Okay. Now he needs hatching all over him. All this lighting stuff is scary. I still have to fix this mess. Trying to keep it relatively parallel. I don't need it to look too calculated and measured, which is kind of what I was thinking over here. And it kind of bit me in the arse. But I probably should have used a ruler for that. I did well enough on this part, but that went to hell. I think that's kind of working. I think this is going to be a continuation of that. And then here, and here, here, here. Oh, okay. I see what's going on. I remember this. Sometimes I got to get back into what I was thinking when I was throwing these lines down sometimes. Because I'll be like staring and staring at them. Like, I don't understand what's going on in the pencils. Usually I can figure it out after a while, but sometimes I really throw myself for a loop. Like the background on this panel, it was barely drawn originally. I had to I left the figure, but I kind of redid the whole rest of the panel real quick because it was not making any sense to me. In fact, it was barely drawn to begin with. It was just like so gestural and incomprehensible, really. It's like it's fine to leave myself stuff like that, but if I was handing this off to a different person to ink, it's not the kind of thing I would have handed off to somebody else. You know what I mean? But every once in a while I get to a point in this comic that it's like I was not very kind to myself when I was penciling. Like I was talking about earlier today how I hate drawing bookshelves, but they always seem to. I always include them in the backgrounds of shots. It's like then I have to draw them. Well, there was a scene with a bookshelf in the background, and after a while, I just stopped drawing all the books on the shelves. I like that's a future Ryan problem. And I was like, you jerk. It's like now I gotta make up all these books on the shelf. Like it's one thing to have to trace them, but it's another thing entirely to have to draw them and then trace them, like figure them out. And not that there's a ton to figure out, I guess, but it's just an extra pain in the neck that I was leaving for myself. Not something you should do to your inker if you're penciling a book for somebody. But like I said, it's all me anyway. Really. But for most of this book, I thumbnailed them on 3x5 note cards, and then I scanned those cards in 4 at a time, and I blew them up in Photoshop. I forget how much, but I think it was something like 300%. And then I printed those drawings out, and then I cleaned up a lot of the drawings in sketchbooks. So I have 3 Bonehead sketchbooks, pretty much one for each act. And after a while, a good chunk of, I think, Act 2 and Act 3, I kind of just relied on the blown up drawings from the note cards, and just cleaned them up as I just traced them onto the page, But a lot of times I would trace them into my sketchbook and clean them up along the way, and then I would trace that cleaned up drawing onto the page. So it was like I'd drawn 3 versions of the picture by the time it got to the comic page for most of the book. Many of the panels throughout most of the book. So I didn't end up doing that to myself a whole ton. But sometimes it was okay, I've drawn 1 billion books today. I think it's time to let this one slide, and future Ryan can worry about it. Or this one, I don't know. I was just running out of ideas or something. Or running out of steam. It is the last panel of this page. And look how long it's taken me to ink it, 3.5 hours. When a page normally takes me about 2.5 hours. So it's that's kind of some indicator on what it took drawing it in the first place. And, I was also, even though I was tracing a lot of these images from my sketchbook or from the note cards onto these pages, it was still a big planning thing to throw down the pencils. There was still a lot of planning involved at that stage. It's not like there was any shortage of effort that had to go into that phase. Okay, almost done with this page, though this is still the glaring thing. I gotta do something about that. I don't quite know what I'm gonna do. May have to white out a lot of that and draw it from scratch. Okay. Oh, forgot. I think I thought I was going to fill this all with black. I gotta be careful to leave this white little edge to separate the background from this. Just trying to make the background a little more dynamic. Throw in this shadow, this black shadow behind. I mean, it's penciled in, but I did just add that, I think, right before I went live. Well, yeah, because I redrew the whole background. It's right before I went live. I think that was my last touch. What time is it? It's 5:30 p.m. Man, I need some food. I mean, I won't let myself eat until I finish this page. Though I do have some salt and vinegar Pringles over there. That might do me good. Okay, and then there's these little shapes here. Okay, now I gotta figure out what I'm doing here. I think I am gonna do that. Might get a little craggy on the page though. Let me see. I'll start with this line. because that stuff doesn't work. It's too jacked up. This might not be the best move, but it's to just white all this out like this. But it was so glaringly messed up. I don't know a better way to solve it. Look, this is a cool panel, I think. That's a cool panel. Fine. Decent panel. This is working largely, this page. I don't know. It's not gummy. Maybe a little bit. T. Okay. Maybe I'll use a multi-liner. It's my Copic multi-liner. Black, it says. I also have ones that say, ooh, focus. 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 Just trust me. It says Copic multi-liner black. This is 0.8. Oof. Okay. I also have ones that say SP instead of black. I don't know what the difference is. I'm not too concerned with the difference, but they seem to both work well for me. For like, I'm on these pages. Like most of my sketchbook drawings, I do with them. But I also do my panel lines with them, and like I do all this text with them. Let's see. Those ones are not perfectly straight lines, so I might be just kind of like using this as a guide. That might be more trouble like the original. I'm gonna try and yeah, I'll rely a little heavier on the ruler. But I won't like it. Thicker. Some variety. Yeah, see now. No, I want to go straighter on these ones. See that cragginess? It's tripping me up. But I think this'll work. And that's scores better than what it was. Still go back in and fix a couple little. I'm sort of fighting with the camera. Oof. Yeah, these are either running out of ink or white ink, or they're just not serving me well lately. I will say, when I first started using these Jelly Roll pens on this paper, these Canson comic book art boards, I was surprised they were working better for me than they do in my sketchbooks sometimes. But yeah, right now they are not. This one's doing all right. I think that's all it is. I think they're running out of ink. So I've had the same pack for a while. Okay, it doesn't need to be too precious. If it's really looking craggy in the, like, once I eventually scan the page and kind of prep it to be colored, if it's really looking craggy, then I can clean it up digitally. But that's way better than it was a little while ago. So I think I'm happy with this page. Just gotta erase the pencils. And yeah, there's 101. 102 is going to be similar to it. Let me turn it this way. Yeah. Because this fight is still going on the next page. Where do I usually have this pointing? There, about there. Oh, I've been pushing the camera back usually lately. That's why it looks different. Yeah, I was thinking about doing another page tonight, but if I'm gonna do a stream with my brothers, I won't have time for that. So right now I'm gonna get something to eat. I'll be back with page 102 tomorrow. So, look forward to that. I'm on here streaming just about every day, making my first comic book. We're about, even though that's page 101, we're about 120 pages into this project and about 110 to go. So we're getting there, everybody. We're learning how to make a comic book. That's all I know. All right. See you tomorrow. This has been Ink the Book Show with your host, Ryan O'Connor. See you tomorrow.